Hi, this is Stu with the Chalkboard Agency. Hey, you're about to hear a story from a good friend of mine, Kevin. And Kevin's going to tell you a story about one of his all-time favorite athletes. The story he's going to talk to you about, though, is a little about how do we measure success? Do we measure that through numbers and dollars and trophies and awards? Or do we measure that by effort? Stay tuned. You're going to find out.
I love sports. And as much as I love playing sports, I love watching sports. Maybe one of my favorite things, however, is the stories around sports. And so today I want to share with you a story of an athlete who I loved growing up and I kind of admire now that I am grown up. His name is Vinnie Johnson. And if you were a fan of the Pistons, the Detroit Pistons, my favorite team, in the 90s, he was known as Vinnie the Microwave Johnson. He was called the Microwave because he would come into a game. He wasn't a starter. He'd come into the game off the bench and give you instant offense. He'd just make it hot immediately. He once scored 25 points in 28 minutes. That's how fast he could just turn a game around. And Vinnie Johnson is a great story about how you can't give up. So Vinnie Johnson is only 6'2". Now, that's pretty tall for a lot of us, but for basketball, that's kind of a small guy. And he didn't go to some major college out of high school. He started by going to a community college. And he played at community college for a while and didn't give up, and then played at Baylor University, and then got drafted into the NBA. And he didn't give up so much that he played 13 years in the NBA and is in the NBA Hall of Fame, even though his statistics are not what a lot of other Hall of Fame statistics look like. He averaged across his career 12 points, 3.3 assists, and 3.2 rebounds across all 13 seasons. That doesn't sound like a lot. And yet he's in the Hall of Fame because of how hard he played, and that whenever he got the chance to do something, he made it count, including helping the Pistons win back-to-back championships in 1989 and 1990. That's his basketball career, but not the end of his success. Vinnie Johnson, after he played basketball, started up a small business, and he worked in construction. And that business totally failed. He lost money, eventually had to close the company down. But he didn't give up. He said, I'm gonna try something else. And he started up something called the Piston Automotive Group, named after his old team. And they started making parts for cars. In the Detroit area, that's kind of a big deal. And that company has grown and grown and grown. And now, even though he doesn't have a shoe named after him, even though you might not see murals of him anywhere, Vinnie the Microwave Johnson is now worth, personally, almost $500 million because he's one of the most successful businessmen, not in the NBA, ever, because he got really good at doing one thing. Coming off the bench, scoring fast. Automotive parts, he made great parts that work with many different types of cars. And he's one of the top I believe the top auto supplier for those kinds of parts in the world. So here's what I want you to think about Vinnie Johnson. You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to be the biggest. You don't have to score the most or get the highest grades. Just try really hard and be really good at one thing. Don't give up, and success will find you, just like it found Vinnie the Microwave Johnson.
Thank you, Kevin, for sharing your story about Vinnie the Microwave Johnson. I think it's pretty clear to point out that I think Kevin's a pretty big fan. Isn't it interesting when we measure success? I mean, do we remember Vinnie's success because he's in the Hall of Fame, or that he is now a very, very successful businessman, or do we measure success just because he just never gave up? So here are a few questions to ponder. Question number one. Vinnie was somewhat of an underdog. Have you ever felt like you were an underdog? Question two. Is there something that you may have given up on that you really wish that you hadn't have? And finally, question three. Vinnie wasn't a starter on his team. How is it that you are supporting those around you?